Hour.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Hour, the place where we discuss, debate, and disagree on all things horror. I'm one of your hosts, George, and today I'm very excited to be joined by the creator of the Hell House franchise, Stephen Cognetti. Stephen, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. What do people disagree about on horror? It's just the greatest thing in the world. What?
Yeah, I mean, you would be surprised. Normally, it's me disagreeing with people. I have some strong opinions on certain people in horror that I don't like Laurie Strode. That's kind of people have said that's quite controversial, apparently. But we try and we always find a middle ground in the end because, yeah, in the end, we all love horror and it's the
Right.
best,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I was looking back. I don't know. So it's been we had you on the show 2 years ago with Lauren A. Kennedy to talk all things Hell House, and I remember distinctly
Yeah.
back then I was like, are we getting more Hell House? Are we getting more House? And you're like, maybe one day. So the fact that we're here 2 years later and we've got a new addition to this franchise is so exciting. So how was it to return finally to the Hell House universe?
Yeah, I think we talked 2 years ago. I wanted to do something. I just wasn't sure how it was going to be, how I was going to go about doing it. And so once the idea just clicked in my head for how I wanted to do this next film, um, it just the idea, the pages kind of wrote themselves, and the scares just were fun to write. And it's really fun to write a whole new, for a whole new location, this new story. The scares come a lot easier when the story kind of resets and you're a whole new place rather than trying to be in the Abaddon Hotel again, which I was
Mhm.
feeling constrained because I was like, wait, we've already had a scare in 2C. How can we do that again?
Yeah.
So it was really always the tough part about the 2 and 3. But this place, it was just so fun because it was like just it's so much room for creativity. That it was doing an original story, but still keeping it within the world, and that's what I wanted to do. And it just had a lot of fun writing this, and it came together pretty well. The cast, the crew, everything came together really well in this film. Loved everyone we worked with. Everyone was just so creative and fun, and just a great group of people.
They were fantastic and everything about it was like so amazing. And to talk about just Carmichael Manor itself, such like you really always seem to hit the jackpot with locations. And like how was it going about finding this location? Because it was so beautiful, but then yet you walked in and you just felt like this you created such an eerie atmosphere. Was it
Yeah.
hard to try and find something that would fit the story?
I was worried that it was going to be hard. There was times when filming was probably like 5 months away, and I still didn't have a place. So, it because I had a mansion in mind and they were kind of on board, and then they pulled out in like I think like early in the new year, like January, and we're filming in April. So I just was scrambling to find a place, and I had to be Manor because we've already announced that the movie has a manor in the
Yeah.
title. So that was like no going back, and I couldn't be the Carmichael Cottage,
No.
um, Carmichael Cabin, because I could easily find something like that. But I think we had to find something that is Manor-esque, and just luckily just came upon this place. It was not too far away from where I live. It's in Scranton, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and it was built by the Johnson and Johnson family. And I called the owners, I emailed them, and they said, "Come on out, take a tour." They were so on board with me filming there, and and when I walked through there, I was like, "Oh my, like this is amazing." Yeah, it's as you said, like it hit the jackpot, because the place just had character to it already that we didn't really have to do too much on that end. I mean, we have an amazing production designer who did a lot of work to make everything work for it, but the place itself was just perfect as was.
Yeah, and like similar to the location of the Abaddon Hotel as well. Like it just
Yeah,
felt like there was so many like you it felt like you could just keep going. Like it was just a labyrinth of like rooms. And I felt that was what made this film even creepy was that, you weren't actually sure, especially with found footage, where exactly you were going. So every time you were like, wait, well, hang on, what is around this corner? It was just like an amazing, so kudos to that. And I would like to know as well, though. But so, how was filming in that location compared to filming where in the Abaddon Hotel location? Was there any more challenges, or was it easier to kind of maneuver around from the filming aspect? Or
1,000 times easier filming at this place. It's a little rural, and so is the Abaddon Hotel is a little rural, but it's hard. It's not like it's hard to get to. The Abaddon Hotel is a hard place to get to. It's so hard to get actors and crew to the Abaddon Hotel because it doesn't have like reliable bus stations and everything like that, and so Scranton, Pennsylvania, while not like a major city, is still a good hub. Has reliable bus station, people running buses from New York City all day. And so I was able to get people in very easily to this area. And then staying there, the mansion itself, since it's so big, there was probably half of it that we weren't even using in the film. So we
Wow.
were able to utilize the other half for places for people to stay. And so most of the crew and actors were on site. And that was just convenient, and that just, I think, added to the atmosphere. Everyone just kind of living together, having fun, the kind of camaraderie, and it was just a fun place to be living for the however long we were out there, like 12 or 13 days.
Wow. And then when it came obviously to the filming aspect, how did you feel delving back into the found footage genre and directing found footage again?
I felt that, like, I felt coming back to it that like everything was going smoother and easier, just because 2 years previous, in 2021, I'd filmed a feature, a bigger budget, bigger scope feature, called 825 Forest Road, and that was a traditional narrative, not found footage. So it was just a bigger beast of a film. It's just about out of post-production now, but it's been a long time in post-production. But I felt like coming out of this bigger film, and then going back to something like found footage, I just felt everything just like a lot easier, and I just feel like production was very smooth on this one. We got our days. We were never over. And I kind of feel just my experience on the previous film, and probably having 3 found footage films under my belt already, probably just helped that, I think. And of course, I've been working with the same producer, Joe Bendelli, and Sophie Schneider, who was the production designer for the previous film I was speaking of. She came back to be the production designer on this film as well. A sound mixer that we've been working with. So we returned a lot of crew too. Assistant director Cameron that we've been working with. So it just, everything just flowed very easily, because it just because of who we were working with, and also just the fact that this is the 4th found footage film. So it's kind of like a formula now that we just have it down. We know what we're doing, and it was really easy to execute. Relatively speaking, I mean, filmmaking is an undertaking,
Yes.
but I mean, relatively speaking, I wasn't, having sleepless nights, like Hell House 1. There's times where I thought, I was like, I'm having panic attacks. Like, this is like everything, we're over schedule,
Yeah.
everything. That's your first feature kind of blues. It happens all the time, but by the 4th film, it's kind of, things are running smoothly, and that's what you want.
Oh God, I'm glad to hear. And obviously, the thing about all of the Hell House films that I just love the most is just that the stories are just so well executed. And was the origin story that you told in this movie, was it denoted the way that you always wanted it to be, or was there any changes? Has it evolved since its first conception? I don't want to give too much away for people who might not know certain things about it, but trying to.
Okay. So I think it was 3 years ago, I wrote 120 pages of script about what happened in the Abaddon Hotel in the 1980s,
Mhm.
and I didn't know if I was going to make that as a series or just a feature itself. But I wrote everything that happened within the walls of the hotel, who was involved, the employees of the hotel, how it affected the town, and it was just like a fun little story about about some of the employees. One of them named Patrick Carmichael as well. And so now that I knew I didn't have a budget to really make some period piece like that, going into this film, I knew that I could take some of what I've written and kind of introduce it in a little bit of like, not directly. I can't show directly what happened in the Avenue, but I can kind of infer it from what we see through home video.
Yeah.
And it kind of just opens the door to, we see a little bit, we know there's a lot more going on, and we just got to get introduced to the ideas of what was going on with Patrick, his family, and how it related to the Abaddon Hotel as a backstory to our A plot in the present day with Margot and Rebecca. That was kind of like where the genesis of where if the themes came from. I think Patrick Carmichael's a character I've wanted to be involved in some way. I originally wrote him into mention in Hell House 2, brought him up there, and I never had a chance to explore more of him and his story, and this is a way to do it without having to do a full origin back 80s movie, which we just can't do, obviously, for mostly budget reasons, though.
it was so great to see as a fan of the franchise. Just like there were so many Easter eggs and connections to obviously the original trilogy, but I was kind of intrigued to know whether there could have been any Easter eggs or connections to any possible future installments that you've dreamed up in your head.
Yeah, I have always wanted to do something regarding the Rockland County Fair.
Hmm.
And so that was mentioned in Hell House 3.
Yeah.
And we talk about it a little bit in this film as well about what happened and how it relates to Margot and everything like that. But if we could do a film um, about the Rockland County Fair going on when they bring it back again in the future, and kind of like and that would be a way to modernize what I always wanted to tell about what happened back in the day with the Rockland County Fair, but do it in a modern day sense. So I would kind of trying to set that up, tease it that if I do another film that's directly like tied to this Origins film that I've done, that it's going to be something involving the fair or something around that. Hopefully that would be that would be what I want to do. But I really honestly don't know what's going to be next.
Well, it's exciting for the. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of you seem to like clowns. Obviously, we're staring at the little fella in the back there, and there is definitely clowns in this film, which I think obviously is specifically that clown is obviously a staple now with the franchise. How is it working with the clowns again? Was there any creepiness on set with the clowns? Was anyone getting pranked, or was it all quite
I
relaxed?
feel bad for a lot of the actors, especially that had to stay there overnight, because those clowns were just positioned around the mansion all night long overnight. And so if anybody had to get up in the middle of the night to go pee, they would have to walk by several clowns standing in the hallway on their way to the bathroom. So I felt bad about that. So but some people loved it. Some, everyone's different with how much they're like, oh, it's so cool. These clowns are just everywhere. And some people are like, I woke up and the clown was still like, I swear was looking at me. But so I just think I love these clowns. These the new masks, the new
Hmm.
clowns, they were made by a mask maker out of Ohio. My producer Joe Bandelli was instrumental in tracking someone down who can recreate the original Hell House mask, but also make its brothers. And in something that it's kind of like a play on the original design, but making two more of them. And I think they just did amazing work. And I was so happy that because I knew I wanted to introduce new clowns, but they were related to the original. I just didn't know if it was possible, if someone could really pull it off, and they did. And I think that what they did, and then Sophie with the clown, Sophie Schneider did design the clown costumes. She did an amazing job too. So those clowns really brought to life, and I like how that came out.
Yeah, they are so creepy, and that one in particular, obviously, is just now a staple of the franchise. But it was so great to kind of see because I kept like what every time they were coming up, and I was like, is this the one, or is this like one of its brother sisters? And then
Yeah.
when you obviously finally see that one, you're like, oh my god, how it connects to the story was just like I mean, I messaged you straight after I saw the film, and I was like, oh my god, this is like, as a fan, it's just like pure like just the best. But I also think as well that stepping it back, I rewatched it again the other day. Just seeing it as a standalone film, I think it works so well as well. And I was going to say, for you, how would you, what would you say to people who are you maybe not familiar with the franchise and maybe wanting to check this film out? Would you say it's how would you describe the film to them?
Um, just so someone who doesn't know Hell House at all.
Yeah, so they're like, "Hey, this is out on the 30th on Shudder. I'm going to check it out for Halloween because it looks creepy."
It's just a genuine at its bones. It's just a classic haunted house tale.
It's such a good one. And if I mean, I'm trying to find people who it's difficult because I've made most people I've met now watch the Hell House franchise. It was kind of like it's been my goal in life is every time I see someone like, have you seen Hell House? Let's sit down and watch all three, which are now all on Shudder, which is so exciting to have all
Yeah,
three, including the
yeah.
director's cut, which is obviously just fantastic. But yeah, I'm really excited for people to sort of check this movie out who may not be familiar with it. And I feel like it would really, this those Easter eggs that are in there. I think like those who haven't seen it might go, oh, okay, I'm going to check this out because it really does.
I try to do that. I think that's just another layer that makes it fun for people to watch. I mean, you include little Easter eggs like that, little connective pieces, the puzzle pieces that you could put together if you watch them all. So yeah, no, and thank you for saying that and spreading the word about Hell House. Appreciate that.
No, it's my that's my. I feel like I'm in a not so negative version of Andrew Tully's cult, and I'm like, come on, everyone, let's watch. I want you to show you Abaddon and show you this world. But no, so it was honestly fantastic. But to kind of to wrap up, obviously, this is going to be out on the 30th of October,
Yeah.
on Shudder, which is so exciting. So it's literally perfect for Halloween viewing. But other than this, is there anything else in the pipeline that you're working on? Anything that you got planned, or is it all sort of very hush
So
hush and
I mean, I think soon 825 Forest Road's coming out, and that movie, I'm
amazing?
so excited for that film because that is just that's just a haunted house tale too. But one told very uniquely. It's three people living in a house, and we see the film in three chapters. Their perspective of what they're all perceiving, what's going on in the house. So each act is a different chapter of each character, and so it's just been a long time in post, but it's finally wrapping up. I'm so happy with how it's come out, and hopefully that will. I don't know where it's going to go once we're done with it, where it's going to be able to be seen, but that is something that's coming up next. But in terms of what I'm making next, I don't know yet. It'd probably be another Hell House. It might be something else original like 825, but I won't know just right now.
It's exciting. Whatever it is, I'll definitely watch it because just I love it all. And so I implore everybody who's watching this video now to go and check out House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor, on the 30th of October on Shudder, because I need another installment. So you'll need to go and watch it. So Stephen, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate taking out the time. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you bring next.
Thanks, George. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Take care.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.